Welcome to our channel. In this video, we will discussing about the anatomy of the ovaries. So we will discuss the features, location, vascular supply, relations, and other such important topics under the heading ovaries. So let's get started with the video. So what are these actually? It is a paired female. It's a paired female reproductive organ. So the ovary is nothing, just a paired female reproductive organ which does the function of production of the oocyte and the release of certain hormones. So ovaries are nothing but just a paired female reproductive organ responsible for release of oocyte and hormone secretion. So let's see what's so special about the ovaries, and by the end of all the videos of this playlist, I think you'll be surely able to tell it. The first heading that we'll be discussing under the heading ovaries is its situation, where the ovaries are situated. So let's start with the situation of the ovaries. But before starting the situation of the ovaries, let me give you a small detail about the other female reproductive organ. So female reproductive organ consists of some other structures which are called the uterus, fallopian tube, which is a site for the fertilization, and here we have the fimbriae on both the sides. So this is fallopian tube. This is uterus. What are the other parts of the uterus? That is the fundus, main body. All that we'll discuss later. So these are fallopian tubes. This is uterus, and here are the ovaries. Two ovaries on both the sides, and the cervix and vagina located at the lower part of the uterus. So here we have the cervix and vagina. So what are these? These are cervix and vagina. I hope you have got introduction to the different other female reproductive organs. So let's proceed with the situation of the ovaries. So where are the ovaries actually located in the body? So these ovaries are located in specialized fossa, which is called the ovarian fossa. How can you remember what are the boundaries of the ovarian fossa? So let me tell you a simple way to remember or recall the boundary. So the ovarian fossa is actually present like this. Suppose this is the anterior side and this is the posterior side. So you can see the lateral and the medial wall are deficient. So same as in case of the ovarian fossa. So ovarian fossa has an anterior boundary and a posterior boundary. So let us see what all structures form actually the anterior and the posterior boundaries of the ovaries. So for this, we will be drawing a diagram. But first let us orient ourselves to the actual location of the ovaries. So suppose this is the cross section of the pelvis, and along the sides there are the lateral pelvic walls. So ovaries are situated on the lateral pelvic wall. So a pair of ovaries are situated on the lateral pelvic wall and in the ovarian fossa. So they are situated in ovarian fossa, and the fossa is somewhat like this. It has an anterior boundary, well defined, and a well defined posterior boundary, but the lateral and the medial boundaries are deficient. So the ovaries are situated in the ovarian fossa on the lateral pelvic wall. We are viewing from the superior side. So these are the lateral pelvic wall, and ovaries are situated on the lateral pelvic wall, one on each side. lateral pelvic wall. So let us see what are the boundaries of the ovarian fossa. So ovarian fossa has an anterior boundary and a posterior boundary. To help us easily recall the diagram, I am drawing some important landmarks. If you have studied the pelvis before, these landmarks will be clearly able to identify and relate the structure present nearby. So what is this? This is the pubic symphysis. So just behind the pubic symphysis, what is present? Urinary bladder. That we have already discussed in the separate videos. So you can check out the playlist section and find the videos on the urinary bladder. Behind the urinary bladder, we have the rectum, and as in case of the females, we have over here the cervix, vagina, and uterus also. So this is the uterus, cervix, and vagina. And behind it, we have the rectum and anal canal. And more posterior to it is present the sacrum and coccyx. So upper part is the sacrum and lower part is the coccyx. We will drawing a clear diagram separately here, but let us orient ourselves to the diagram and all the structures. So the major important structures is the common iliac artery. So suppose this is the common iliac artery, it bifurcates into the external iliac and the internal iliac artery. So what are these? These are the external iliac artery and this is the internal iliac artery. And in the course of the ureter, I have told you that near its bifurcation passes the ureter and enters the urinary bladder at the upper part of the trigone. So this orange structure is the ureter. We have some more structure over here, and the important one is the obliterated umbilical artery or the deteriorated umbilical artery, and the ovaries are actually present here. So I hope you can orient yourself to the anterior and the posterior boundary. I told you the ovarian fossa looks like this. So suppose this is the ovarian fossa over here. So we have one structure for the anterior boundary, that is the obliterated umbilical artery, and two structures for the posterior aspect or the posterior boundary, which is the one is the ureter and second is the internal iliac artery. So two structures are forming the posterior wall and one structure is forming the anterior wall, that is the obliterated umbilical artery, and the posterior we have the ureter and the internal iliac artery. And the other structures related to the ovaries, I think you can clearly understand this diagram. So let us draw this diagram once again and remove all the unwanted structure and concentrate mainly on the ovarian fossa. So anteriorly we have, firstly we draw any diagram, we draw the bony walls or the bony part. So anteriorly we have the pubic symphysis, posteriorly we have the sacrum and the coccyx. This we have the sacrum and coccyx, anteriorly we have the pubic symphysis. Then the important structure is the urinary bladder because the ureter enters to it. So the neck of the bladder in adults lie at the lower part of the pubic symphysis. This is the neck of the bladder which continues as a urethra, and the ureter enters to the upper part of the trigone. The pelvic relation of the ureter is the bifurcation of the common iliac into external and internal iliac. So the bifurcation point will somewhere lie here. So this is the bifurcation point, and we have one more important structure which is the median umbilical artery. On the obliterated umbilical artery. So this structure we have here is the obliterated umbilical artery. At the posterior we have the ureter and the internal iliac artery. So if somebody asks you what is the boundaries of the ovarian fossa, I think you will be able to tell with the surety and the precision. So let us develop our topic further by discussing about the position of the ovary. the next topic is the position of the ovary. So what is the difference between situation and the position? See, suppose you ask a person what is the situation or where the fan is situated in a room, or preferably you can say where the fan is situated in a house or room. So the person can reply whether it may be in drawing room or in bedroom or whether it may be in the hall. But if somebody asks you what is the position of that, whether the fan is on the ceiling or on the walls, or if it is a table fan or a pedestal fan, the position on the floor. So situation gives an idea of its location and position gives an idea of how it is oriented. I think I made myself very clear. But if you have any doubt or query, you can ask in the comment box below, and you can follow us on Instagram. For notes, just check the description box below. So the position of the ovaries, we will discussing the two scenarios, in a nulliparous woman and a multiparous woman. So the first scenario is nulliparous woman. What do you understand by the term nulliparous? Nulliparous means the woman has not given a birth to any baby. So that condition is called the nulliparous, and the opposite is the multiparous. So the position or the orientation of the ovary is different in both the scenarios. Due to the pull by the uterus, the position of the ovary shifts from one to the other in nulliparous and multiparous women. So first let's discuss about the orientation of the ovaries in general, and we will apply it to the nulliparous and the multiparous respectively. Suppose this is the ovary. You can see it is somewhat elliptical. So it has an long axis and a short axis. So you can imagine the ovary is like some X. So it has a long axis, the bigger part, and a short axis. So if the long axis is directed vertically, then the condition is of that of the nulliparous woman. So in nulliparous woman, the ovaries are present like this. And what happens in the multiparous woman? Due to the pull from the uterus, so uterus, suppose this is the ovary and here is the ligament attached to the uterus. So due to the contraction or pull from the uterus, the ovaries begin to change its orientation and becomes vertical to horizontal. So earlier in nulliparous woman, the ovary was vertical, but it changed horizontal due to pull by the ligaments of the uterus, which are attached to the ovary. So what is the scenario in the multiparous woman? In multiparous woman, the ovaries are oriented horizontally, or the long axis of the ovaries are oriented horizontally. In this diagram, you can clearly see the position in multiparous and nulliparous. I have not discussed about the pose. So what are the first? Let us discuss about the external features. Then I will tell about the condition of the pose or the situation of the pose in both the cases. So the next topic to discuss is about the external features of the ovary. And let me tell you, and the external features differ in nulliparous and multiparous. Some external features, especially the gross overview, what you look from outside, that's different in the nulliparous and the multiparous woman. So let us discuss about the external features. So external features are different for nulliparous and multiparous women. So what are those? So for nulliparous women, if you look the ovaries, they have the grayish pink color, means the major color is the pink and it has some grayish tint to it. So the color is the grayish pink color and the surfaces are very smooth. So it has very smooth surface like this and smooth surface. But the scenario is little different in the multiparous woman. Smooth surface. So what happens in the case of the multiparous woman is that the grayish pink color changes to permanent gray color. So in multiparous woman, the color is gray and the surfaces are irregular, or you can say the surfaces are uneven. So the color becomes gray and surface is uneven. So how does it look like? So the ovaries of the nulliparous woman will be like this, long axis directed vertically and have smooth surfaces and color is gray, or let's show it by pink. Okay, but what is the case in multiparous women? The ovaries are oriented like this, long axis is horizontal and the color is gray and the surface is uneven. Why the surface become uneven? As the oocytes mature and burst out, there are some surface depressions and projections. So this leads to the uneven cause of the surface change. Apart from all this, the color and the outer gross anatomy, there are some features of the each ovary, which include 2 poles, 2 borders and 2 surfaces. So what are the 2 poles? We have the anterior pole, it's upper pole, we have the upper pole and a lower pole. All these are made according to the reference to the nulliparous woman. So we have an upper pole like the pointed part of the X or the ellipse. We have an upper pole and a lower pole. And what are the borders? We have the 2 borders, that are the anterior border and the posterior border. Anterior border and posterior border. And what are the surfaces? We have 2 surfaces, lateral and medial. Lateral and medial. So we have 2 poles, upper pole, lower pole, anterior surface, posterior surface, the lateral border and the lateral surface and the medial surface. This diagram we will be discussing in the next video, when we will be discussing about the relations of the ovary. So we have got 2 relations of the ovary, peritoneal relations and the visceral relations. So if you like the video, do hit the like button and share our channel with the batchmates, and yes, do subscribe our channel. And any query or suggestion, you can check out the comment box below.